Okay, so welcome to the first chapter of Let's Read Ancient Spells. And today we are going to read one of the most ancient spells ever written down to us. But before I start reading the spell and giving my bibliography and start to analyze it, let's talk about history, prehistory, and what defines history. History starts when people started writing things down, meaning everything that happened before the inventions of writing is a prehistoric thing. And the writing was invented, reinvented, got lost in time several times towards history, towards ourselves. Now, the most ancient sort of usage of writing as a magical thing was actually in prehistoric China. There are the tortoise shells of Anyang. What the Anyangists would do, they would take the tortoise, they would sacrifice it, and then on the bottom shell they would write different options as a result to a prediction that they want done, like good, bad, successful, unsuccessful, that guy would marry me. It all depends on the question. And then in the center they would insert a little sliver of hot iron, and the tortoise shell containing moisture would basically burst or get fractured towards the correct answer, and it was an oracle. And this is one of the most ancient forms of divination that humankind have ever seen. Okay, and if you are looking more information about this, please Wikipedia, the tortoise shells of Anyang. But in the West, what happened was that we had a settlement, like a permanent settlement, in the Fertile Crescent, which is basically where Lebanon, Syria, Iraq are today. Those were the first cities, and those cities were created because of the invention of agriculture. Before agriculture, people would basically they would be hunter-gatherers, they would collect their own food, they would keep some livestock, and, would basically, move as the livestock moves or move as their prey move, and they need to hunt in different pastures. The biblical story of Cain and Abel is basically a very etiologic story that teaches us that the children of Israel preferred hunting and gathering and growing sheep than to settle in one place and do agriculture, and this was what God preferred. Okay, so as soon as we have a city, we have personal artifacts, we have personal wealth, and wealth could be measured by reading and writing, and making different contracts, and those are the first documents that are being written in cuneiform on clays. So we have articles that are of religious nature, we have economic articles, and we have magic articles. And it's very interesting because you can see from the plethora of text that we have from Ugarit that people practicing the reading and writing practiced sometimes by reading and writing magical spells. And I would be reading one of those spells today. And these spells come from the series Writing from the Ancient World, Ritual and Court in Ugarit by Dennis Pardee. This is the book, okay? Now, I will show you the text of the spell, and you can pause the YouTube and copy the spell for your Book of Shadows or whatever, so you can have it in front of you while I'm analyzing it. Okay? This is the spell. I hope you can see it well. Okay? I'll try to make it closer. I hope it will be focused. Okay? And if you can really see it well, okay, just either get the book in the library or or copy it as I read. And this is an incantation against snakes and scorpions. Here it goes. When the unknown one calls you and begins foaming, I, for my part, will call you. I will shake pieces of sacred wood, so the serpent not come up against you, so the scorpion not stand under you. The serpent will indeed not come up against you. The scorpions will indeed not stand up under you. So the tormentors, the sorcerers, not give ear to the words of the evil man, to the words of any man. When it comes from their mouth, on their lips, may the sorcerers, the tormentors, then pour it on the earth, for Urtenu, his body and his members. What do you think? Complex, isn't it? It is complex, and it is very symbolically rich, and it's very, very interesting that such a spell of this complexity just appears fully materialized in a city that its history can be reached down to minus 6000 BCE. Okay, the flourish of Ugarit was between the year 1450 BCE to 1200 BCE. So this is really one of the most ancient spells ever recorded. And it was written down, it's a complete spell. It didn't have any breakage, which is kind of rare. So we have all the text, and it was written on a clay tablet in cuneiform. Now, let's start analyzing this. Let's start to analyze this and try to understand what this spell is all about. But before we do, let me give you some background about the faith and practices of the people of Ugarit. What the people of Ugarit believed was basically that we are all, in some way or another, related to the gods, to the many gods of the land. We were either related to them or were created so we can serve them properly, so they don't have to do the menial work of harvesting and plowing and doing everything that, we do in their daily life to survive, in a sense. And our being related to the deities gave us this sort of magical protection against the evil forces, the chaotic forces of the world. But we might do a sin, have a crime. We don't know what this sin or this crime might be. We might wash ourselves in the wrong day in the river, or pluck a flower, which is a deity. It was very similar in a sense to what people would consider a sin in ancient Egypt or in ancient Greece of the time. And once we do that, we will lose our sacred protection. And the mythological sorcerer or witches would be able to harm us for personal gain or simply out of their service to the forces of chaos. Okay? So, spells like this one were meant to protect us from the power of dark sorcerers and witches, because it's not really that you accidentally walk in the forest and you step on a snake and it bites you. The snake was placed there by a maligned power. Okay? So this spell is extremely complex. Let's start analyzing this. And hey, you might cast it yourself if you want to. When the unknown one calls you and begins foaming, I, for my part, will call you. Okay, there is a trigger here. This spell will be activated under these terms. When the unknown one, we don't know the name of the enemy that might want to harm you. So the unknown one is like the act of unnaming. Okay, but this is like an X that could be filled with your neighbor, an evil spirit, whatever, okay? But when it calls you, when it's like focusing its energy towards you and begins foaming like foam. Now, this could be two things, this foaming. It could either be a serpent frothing forth its poison, a scorpion, holding his poison in the tip of his edge, or it could be like, somebody angry, because in Hebrew, which is a very ancient language, they say that when somebody is angry about you, his mouth is foaming about you. When you incur the wrath of said deity. This could be it. It's like a question mark, but I think it's like either or all of those together. It's a very precise sort of way to do that. I I is the wizard that is writing this down by the divine nature of his spell and by the divine right that he got in the favor of making offerings and spiritual preparation to cast the spell. This is who I is. I, for my part, will call you, okay? I make this invocation. This is the first part of the incantation. The second, I will shake pieces of sacred wood. There is a device here. There are sacred woods that are to be shaked. Now, is it a few twigs of sacred wood, like a mastic wood that was considered sacred to Asherah? Was it the oak tree that was sacred to El Elyon? Every god or deity had a sacred wood. Was it the wizard have like sacred stick that he would shake together? Was it he would go to that wood and he would shake it as a sign of warning? As a sign of warning, we don't know, but this is open to interpretation, but this is a tool. I will shake pieces of sacred wood so the serpent not come up against you, so the scorpion will not stand up under you. Serpent and scorpions, the area is full of them. They were a constant danger and probably a very easy way to manifest a curse or a hex. The serpent will indeed not come up against you. The scorpion will indeed not come up under you. If the serpents and the scorpions are used interchangeably, this command is being repeated 4 times. Now, this is being done before the invention of numerology. And 4 is the most protective number because this basically creates this square. And the square is the most stable form in nature. The fact that you repeat something for 4 times, it's like something that is like anti-manifestation. This is something that blocks something from manifestation. It's simply ingenious to incorporate this in a written text. So the tormentors, again, we are returning to the unknown ones. So the sorcerers, like if any sorcerer casts a hex against you, not give ear. So the serpents and the sorcerers will not hear the gossip, will not being able to receive the actual knowledge that you have done some sin that you need to pay for, or some people will not pay sorcerers to harm you. We don't really know what's going on here, but you know, we can guess. To the words of the evil man. Who is the evil man? Your enemy. Okay? Or to the word of any man. If you said something, if somebody said something by mistake that opens you up to the attack of the wizards or the tormentors that could manifest in many forms of nature. When it sounds forth those words, when they sound forth from their mouth, on their lips, may the sorcerers, the tormentors, then pour it on the earth. So the venom, instead of coming to you and harming you in the myriad ways that nature can attack you, it will not be sound forth from the lips. It would be poured to the earth. It will be grounded to the earth. The earth will collect it and keep it, instead of it coming into your veins. And this incantation was done for a one called Oternu, to protect his body, to protect his members. And it was written on a little slate, and he probably either carried this slate with him, or had this slate on his, on like the sacred place in his house, or kept it in his stuff. So yeah, this was basically a protection spell. So what do you think about this spell? Is it interesting? Do you think that you can make your own copy of the spell, or can you use the spell as is, or how would you change this spell today? Okay, let's open a debate about this, because this spell is an actual ancient spell, okay, that one could use. Also, there are other 2 spells in this book. One of those spells is a spell to restore a man's nature, and the other spell is to protect against the evil eye. If you want me to read those and to analyze those, then tell me and I shall do so. If not, next episode I would move to an ancient Greek curse. Just tell me which one you want me to analyze first. I will probably get to them all as I get like the time and space and mental air to do so. Okay, sweeties, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Goodbye and Ashe.